Good evening, everyone. We'll give it just a second for folks to get through the entry and get started here soon. See if it's kind of holding at 49, so we'll just take off, and I'm sure other folks will pop in here. But you're all here. And so we'll get started, and I'm happy to repeat anything that folks think they missed. Because this is really about you and less about me. My name is Chris. I am the Executive Director for Admission Services here at UCCS. Uh, I also teach in our Gateway Program seminar classes here, which is a class all freshman students are required to take as part of their degree program. I have been at UCCS for 19 years. I started here in 2005, so this place is very much a home to me, and certainly something that I hope your students can say in a few, well, next year and for the rest of their lives, really. This session is just giving you all a few updates and then giving you a chance to kind of ask me anything. I've got some specific updates and dates I want to give you here for the next few minutes, and then I'm happy to take questions that you all have. If there's a question that might not be suitable for the wider audience, we can always do a follow-up where I can email your response back to you individually. Um, so, don't give me any hard ones. Like, come on, it's Monday, it's nice outside. Like, let's be easy on each other. But this is really just questions you're all going to have. And so I think kind of some of the general ones that we see when it hits March is, what are my next steps? So we're going to use the chat feature of Zoom to send you all specific links and updates. If you all have questions, go ahead and use the Q&A feature of the question. Tara, I'm getting to that. No, I'm kidding. That was what I was leading into, Tara. So that's how we're going to do it. So use the Q&A for questions you have. My folks in the back end are going to use the chat to send you specific links. So leading off right there, Tara, that's the first starting point for us, is how do you formally accept UCCS? So we have, I would say, a soft formality of acceptance. There's no binding commitment. There's no deadline. There's no enrollment deposit when it comes to UCCS. The first thing you see in the chat right now is the link to the next steps, but the real big next step is orientation. And Jacqueline's going to pop that orientation link here in the chat for us. Orientation is how you tell us how to that you're coming to UCCS and I'm ready to move forward with enrollment. And orientation is where a student will enroll for their summer or fall courses. They do that one-on-one, and that's either virtually or on campus. So you all can choose what the best mode is for you, but it is done one-on-one with one of our orientation leaders who will help your student understand their degree audit, understand the enrollment registration system, and sign up for those classes that they've gotten from that guidance from their academic advisor. So orientation is really that step of I'm coming to UCCS. What do I do now? That really kicks everything off from an enrollment perspective. But again, virtual and in-person appointments done one-on-one, and you leave that session with your classes registered for. We start, so the reservation system is open right now. The actual registration will begin in like April. So Rowena asks, is it not required to attend orientation in person for out-of-state students? No, Rowena, you can just do the virtual one, and that's totally fine. We will have local Colorado Springs kids do virtual appointments because it's just a convenience, and we want to make it easy for you all to engage with that next step and do it however is comfortable for you. You can certainly come to campus and do it if you want, but you want to knock that out as early as possible. I would say do a virtual session. So for students who live outside of the Pikes Peak region, um, the housing living on campus is required unless you're going to use an exemption to opt out. There are some very strict exemptions, so I would say take a look at that. But the housing application would be another big next step to get that information in. While I don't think we'll run out of housing, what you will find is you rank according to your room type, selection, things like that. And they go off the ranking first come, first serve. So if you wait until June to submit your housing application, you're probably going to get like your third or fourth, maybe fifth choice. Students that have already done it and have already gotten the housing application in will start to see, I believe it's April 15th is when they'll start to see that information coming back to them, both in email and in print. I'm just going to double check my notes. On that specific day. April 5th is when emails will go out to students. And students remember to be checking not only your personal, email account, your Gmail, your Yahoo, your iCloud, whatever that may be, but also your UCCS account, because a lot of stuff will be coming to you via the UCCS email account, and that is the official way that the university will communicate with its current students. So good habit to get into right now about checking your UCCS email account. I'm going to check my rest of my notes. Financial aid packages, everyone's curious about that, will start arriving to your mailboxes, the physical mailbox, here in the next week or so. They started sending all those out last week. And so they were going to the mail office, the mailroom on Friday, and then heading out and sending over the weekend. So be on the lookout for that coming to your mailbox. It won't appear in the My UCCS portal until July, but that print stuff is what's coming to you right now. I know it's weird to think about. But this time of year goes by really fast. And I know that can be kind of overwhelming in a sense. And so I hope that you feel a little eased with knowing there's no deadline to accept UCCS. You have as much time as you want to make that decision. We're not going to send an email saying, tell us now or it's over. You're seeing emails trying to encourage action because we're trying to prepare for you all as best as we possibly can. But take that time you need. The one thing I just be totally transparent. One thing I don't like about the whole college admissions world is the pressure a student has to make a decision by this date or they feel like they've done something wrong. I don't like that about our world, and so that's why we don't do it at UCCS, because we want you to make the best decision possible, knowing there are a lot of factors that you're weighing. Financial aid's one of them. I see some questions about housing and things like that. Like Nikki, your question is you're not sure if you want to live on campus or use exempt. I think it's best to wait, but don't wait too long. And I also check the exemptions to see if you would qualify for those. And kind of the other questions in the chat too, like how's the financial aid stuff that's coming is financial aid for scholarships, grants, loans, work study. That's all in that financial aid packaging. And there might still be a couple other scholarship things that are coming later on this month because those decisions are made by foundations and not by the university. So there's a lot of information still coming to you for you to use and make this decision. And I just think it's really important that you take the time you need to make that decision. So there isn't anything necessary to say, I've got to make this decision by May 1st when it comes to UCCS. You've got that time. Rachel, you just hit one of my favorite things about campus is there are two ways that a student can get a job on campus. There's work study and there's student hourly. It's the same jobs. It's just where is that money coming from? Is it coming from a federal award that the money's going to draw from there to give to the student, or is it going to come from like a campus's budget or a department's budget to pay the student? So there's 1,800 jobs on campus. And it really just depends on, does the department prefer a work study because they don't really have the funds to pay a student and they'd rather use work study award? That's where the jobs really are different. But again, 1,800 jobs on campus, students will be able to see what those options are. And those jobs will start posting in late July, and those will be in the MyUCCS portal. So students will be able to see. And again, folks, if you wouldn't mind putting your questions in the Q&A and not the chat, that'll just help us keep announcements in the chat a little easier to you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So jobs, again, student hourly, work study, still the jobs are on campus, and it's just where the money is drawn from for those jobs. Let me look through the questions here. We got that one going. In general, Phoebe, your question about when will students know which AP or dual credit courses they have taken will be accepted by the university? One, AP scores don't really get to us till July. The College Board does take a little bit of time to get us those scores. So July is usually when we know. So if you're going to orientation and signing up for classes, I would let that person know that, hey, I took AP psychology. I'm going to have AP credit coming. The guidance might be, okay, cool, we won't sign up for that course then, we'll take something else. If a student is taking calculus or things like that, your advisor might say, hey, let's sign up for Calc 1 because we can always drop that course and add Calc 2 if that's the suggested path of your major. So there isn't any worries about signing up because anything you sign up for now can always be changed and really changed all the way up until the start of term and beyond. You have about 2 weeks to know like what your final classes are if you're still working on a few things or times or things like that. Dual credit, though, if you have college credits, you've got an actual college giving you course credit, send us that transcript right away. And that's when we can get that applied to the degree program right there. Let's see. When is admitted student day? It has come highly recommended to attend. So Robin, we take the approach of like every day is admitted student day because we think it'd be unfair for us just to pick one day and that not work out for everybody. So really all campus tours are open, Mountain Lion visit days are open on those days because we can work really individually with you. The biggest ones are kind of what we talked about with those admitted student next steps and orientation and things like that. So I would say, let us know when you can come and we can get you on a campus tour. You can meet with an admissions counselor or meet with somebody else who you need to connect with on campus just to get some questions answered. So we kind of treat it, Robin, as every day is admitted student day, just to be as flexible as we can to you all. I'm going to go anonymous attendee first because that's always my favorite. I never know who it is. Could be someone famous. We don't know. We have a confirmed UCCS orientation appointment in April through Zoom. Is that the required orientation? Yes, anonymous attendee. That is the required orientation. Jennifer, my kiddo is currently undecided on his major. Are there any majors that have limited enrollment or require acceptance to that major? He is considering business. So Jennifer, business is one that does have some special requirements for entry as a freshman. But if your student really is undecided, I think that's totally fine. They can move into the College of Business after their first semester freshman year by just completing English 1 and college algebra and having a certain GPA, and they can move on there. They can do that after their freshman year if they're really still figuring out what they want to do. I personally think being undecided is a wonderful way to approach college. And I say that because I think it's really important that a student is looking at a university as a place in general. Like they're just seeing this place and going, I don't know what my major is going to be, but I know I like this place and I see opportunities and I see help and I see support and I see a lot of opportunity. And I've said that twice, but I think that's really a key thing. So I would say, Jennifer, like, is totally cool to be undecided for a year. if your student really is feeling like that. If something clicks over the summer, we can make adjustments and change courses and make small things to their schedule fit a different degree. So we always had that flexibility, like I said, really up until the start, a little after the start of the term. So totally okay to be undecided. Leanne asks, is there any freshman camp or anything prior to the start of the term? So there's not a freshman camp per se, but there is a pretty healthy week prior to all classes beginning. So students move in somewhere between the 18th, 19th, and 20th. And then on Wednesday after that, on the 21st, there's a busy day for freshmen with convocation. And then on Thursday and Friday of that week, they spend all day with their freshman seminar class. And they might spend all night with them if they're doing like the camping trip or things like that. So that week is pretty busy with move-in, with convocation, and then the first 2 days of seminar. They get the weekend to catch their breath, and then all of their classes begin on Monday. And housing will be telling you what date and kind of a window to show up with. We try and spread everyone out for move-ins, that everyone's not running into each other. So they'll give you a clear time of when to come to campus and move in. And if you need something really particular, wait to get your housing move-in information and then talk to them about making an adjustment. That information will probably come out in, I would say, late June, early July. So. Let's see. I think, and Nikki, I answered your question about check the exemptions first before making that decision. I'm gonna dismiss that. Matt asked, will we be able to speak with the Veterans Affairs rep at orientation start? Yes. Yes, you can do that. You can, oh, actually, Matt, you can do both. You can do it at orientation, or you can set up a separate time to talk with them, like over Zoom or something like that. There's a lot of folks that will happily work with you on that, but that's something that can be done at orientation as well. Jackson asked, what are the important dates and costs associated with on-campus housing? What is the dollar amount given when a student receives the presidential scholarship? Jackson, I'll answer the first part, the first question. And that's the important dates are those ones I just mentioned with the housing move-in, and you'll get a specific date on when to come. Like I said, August 18th, 19th, or 20th will be those 3 days to move in. And then the dollar amount of the presidential scholarship, it's not a dollar amount, but a tuition rate. It's 110% of the in-state rate. So they don't associate a dollar amount to it because the system has it built in as a tuition rate, like in-state tuition, out-of-state tuition, Western undergraduate exchange tuition, stuff like that. So it's a calculation, not so much a hard dollar amount. Kim asked, do they pick their freshman seminar during orientation? Yes, they do. They are given information prior to coming to orientation to see all the different options and topics of all the different seminars. I think there's something like 30 different seminar topic options. The one I teach is just Pathways to Success. Gives us a lot of flexibility to shape the class to what the students need each year. So like my co-teacher and I, we really kind of take it a couple weeks by a couple weeks and go, okay, they're connecting with this. They want to talk more about that. Again, it's about their development, not just what Brett and I want to talk about every day. So Rachel asks, the best way for a student is still working on executive function skills to get support. One is really digging into what are the types of support that student would need. Is it meeting a little bit more consistently with their academic advisor? If they have like an IEP or a 504 plan, talking to our Disability Services and Testing Center. Sometimes getting a job on campus really helps with that because it gives them ways to put it into practice. I think it really comes back to what are the specific needs that we can associate with, because there's always going to be a lot of people that you're going to wrap yourself around for support. You know, there's going to be advisors and faculty and maybe a job on campus and a boss and roommates and friends they make in class and a seminar instructor. All these different pieces that are going to help in their various ways. Rowena asks, would you recommend that my daughter have a car for transportation while at UCCS, or is the campus transportation sufficient? What do most UCCS students typically do? This is always like I'd love to give you it depends. But you want a little bit more than that. So one, if students are living on campus, cars are already taken care of. You've got a parking pass when you're living on campus. Um, I would ask, why is a student needing it? If a student has off-campus jobs or accountabilities, it's probably a good reason to have a car here. You won't need it on campus though. The shuttle buses get around. They're they're going really from 6:30 in the morning until about 10:30 at night. Um, it's a very walkable campus, so you know it it's pretty easy to get around. Um, let's not be blind to the fact that a lot of students will head to the mountains on the weekends or just on the weeks when they can. So that would be a nice reason to have a car. There aren't any majors in the beginning that really need a car. Nursing students aren't doing clinicals that early. Business or engineering students aren't doing internships that early. So I would say have your student have a really good reason why they would need it on campus. Um, and I don't think they're wrong in wanting it. I think that makes total sense, especially if they're not from Colorado or not from the Springs and they want to explore. It's great to have a car and to get around and to go to Breckenridge or Monarch or the Hot Springs or go in mountains and hike 14ers. We do a lot of those things with shuttle buses and trips that we take on campus. I don't think it's wrong for a student to have a car. I would make sure that they want it for the right reasons more than I just want it. I don't know if that's good enough. I would say have some thought into what you're going to use this thing for. Um, that would probably be a really good conversation. And I think most students do have cars, um, but everyone's got their own reasons. And some people, again, they're going to go home because they're still going to work on the weekends or something like that. They've got accountabilities off campus that they might need it for. So, um, Rowena, that's not the best answer, but it's the most honest one because everyone is different in why they might need it. Do RAs receive any compensation like room and board? Yeah, RAs get room, board, and I believe a stipend when they are selected to be a resident assistant. Usually that's at the sophomore year. There's rare occasions that a second semester freshman student would get into the RA world. So it's usually sophomores and above. Robin asked, in the orientation information, it mentions a COF stipend to be paid to UCCS. What does this mean? COF is College Opportunity Fund. It's Colorado's mechanism for funding higher education. So when your student goes to orientation, they'll find out how they're going to authorize their state COF dollars to be sent to UCCS, and that buys down their tuition. If a student doesn't authorize COF, they will pay more than they should, simply put. So it's not a UCCS thing, it's a state of Colorado thing. And you can literally Google college in Colorado, COF, College Opportunity Fund, and it'll bring up the website to go and claim that information. Rachel asked, does tuition include healthcare services? It doesn't include healthcare. There's $20 visit fees for the health center, but the health center on campus, the rec center, wellness center, all in that one facility in the middle of where all of our students live. And it covers entry to that. And then the services provided, I believe it's a $20 visit fee. And then depending on the severity of what's needed, you would just work with them on any sort of using insurance and things like that. But students would use their insurance that they have coverage for. Robin asked, how is 504 information passed along to UCCS? Usually the doctor that prescribes the 504, the organization that prescribes the 504 can just send that to us, getting that to the Disability Services Center, Robin. Katie asked, do you recommend students who live in the Springs to live on campus? I do, and because come on, yeah, I'm going to say that, Katie. Let's be real. I do because I think it's important that they take some accountable steps in waking themselves up in the morning, in washing their own clothes, and putting themselves in a new environment to take a little bit more responsibility than what they might at home. I think it's also important. I've had a lot of, for the number of years I taught in seminar, I've seen a lot of family dynamics work out really well when the student is from one of our former students used to work in admissions. Her name is Emily. She went to Douglas, or not Douglas, Discovery Canyon up north. And she had the clearest thing she told me when she picked UCCS and lived on campus. And that was, well, if I went anywhere else, I was going to live on campus. It was important to me to have that for myself. Uh, Juxtapose that with another student I had years ago, Bree, whose family and her really couldn't change their dynamic from what it was like in high school. The family was really expecting her to be home at certain times. Her class schedule was different than high school. They they had to work out a new dynamic, and unfortunately, they really couldn't. And it ended up Bree having to transfer, which what she thought was the betterment for her family life. Um, I think it's understanding that things are going to change for everybody, for the student, for the parents, for the siblings. It's going to be different, and so um, it's important to have that conversation if you're going to live at home. That my life is going to be different. I might have class until 10 o'clock at night. I'm not just out, um, and vice versa. If the student does live on campus and they don't check in a lot, that doesn't mean it's bad. That means things are probably going pretty well. Um, so I think it's a challenging question to really give you a great answer for, Katie, because I think it really is important for a student to take some accountability steps. But I always understand, like, financially, it's easier for us. Totally get that and can't disagree with that either. Uh, I think you go back to what is best for the student, what is best for the family, and then find that common ground in the middle there. Um, if your student has taken CUCC class, how do you let UCCS know they can get credit? Good news, anonymous attendee. It's already in the system. If it's a UCCS CU Succeed class, it's already in the system. If it's a CU Denver CU Succeed class, it's already in the system too. So you don't have to send anything. You just get to, it'll be part of the degree audit. So you're all good there. Charlotte asked, what are the earliest and latest times classes take place? I would say 8 a.m. is definitely the earliest. And then I think 7 o'clock is the latest classes go, or classes start. And I think they mostly end by like 9:45 or 10 o'clock. Again, I would also reference that chat to see other links in there that we've put in there for you with housing, with with the orientation link is in there, admitted student next steps, campus tour link is in there. You can tour 10 times if you want. You are always welcome to visit UCCS. We're going to do some night tours here over the next couple of weeks, just with daylight savings time hitting. It allows us to be a little more active at night. Um, and then if those times don't work for you, reach out and let us know when you can get here, and we'll make those arrangements. Uh, Again, I really hope that there's that you're not feeling pressured when it comes to enrollment at UCCS. You'll understand some of the larger financial and payment deadlines when you go to orientation. But just at this point right now, from a decision perspective, you've got time. You've got time. And if you need to talk with one of us individually, we can set up appointments for you. We have our admissions counselors that have appointments. You're welcome to reach out to me, and I'll happily set up a Teams or Zoom with you and your student to talk through some things. And again, when you visit campus, admissions counselors are here. A lot of folks are here. We are always happy to sit down and talk about those things. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat to make sure I don't miss anything. Tammy asks, is there a link for club athletics? Those will be on the rec center website, and I would say hold off until the closer to the semester, because summer you've got graduation, you've got club presidents changing over, and clubs are really dictated by the students and if they want to run that club. So sometimes, club lacrosse is big, and then sometimes there's not enough students to field a team. It's always based on the students. My son will be transferring from community college. Who should he send his transcript to? Melanie, usually that community college uses the same system we do, or a electronic transfer system. You just tell them to send it to UCCS. Specifically, let me type in there. This is a email address that if they don't use a service, you can have it sent to. But usually they use a transfer system. We get it. You don't have to overthink it. Um, Kim, wait, Kim, is that you, Kim? Like upstairs, Kim? Now you're in mom mode, Kim? That must be her. Uh, the degree plan. Oh, it is Kim. Hey, Kim. Um, so it really is dependent upon the advising. Um, Students are somewhere in the range of, I would say, 12 to 16 hours. I believe anything over 18 or 17 hours requires advisor approval to go over that number. Um, but most students will be around 15 hours. Almost all majors are 120 credit hours. The only ones that are a little bit more that are in like the 126, 129 credit hours are computer science majors and engineering majors, just because they have a little more math to take care of with their program. Um, but most all majors are 120 credit hours. So 15 semester or 15 credit hours for 8 semesters get you to 120. And then you've seen all those other questions of like, well, CU2C credit might be less than 15 one semester. And this is also just kind of the student knowing themselves and knowing what they can handle. It's a big transition, like, and that's okay. Um, so if a student feels more comfortable saying, I'm going to just stick with 13, then I'll take some more as at the second semester, and I might take a summer class. It's totally fine. Um, they've got to really take ownership of their academics and their education, even more so than what they've been able to do in high school. High school is kind of just saying, hey, do this and graduate. We're saying, hey, this is your major. This is what you want to learn. Follow this guide, but use your advising on where you want to take electives and when you want to take these classes. Rachel asks, is there a financial counselor we can talk to better understand the help we've been offered? Yep. You can reach out to FinAidC and they can set up a phone call. They can set up a phone call. Oops, I misspelled. They don't have appointments, but you can certainly walk in if you're local and talk to them. If you're visiting campus, you can just pop up there when you're done with your tour and talk to them about that. Fast now. All right. What percentage of freshmen live on campus? We are from the Front Range, but not the Springs, wondering about meeting folks and making friends. I think once a student gets here, the making friends part is really easy as long as they take the initiative to not hide in their room. Completely honest. I will tell my freshmen that when I see them in a few months. If you hide in your room, you're gonna have a really tough time making friends. But if you say hi to the person sitting next to you in class, you meet some people in your seminar class, you get to know your roommates and establish some really good communication there. Making friends is pretty easy. You got to put yourself out there, but it's not hard. It's literally going and trying that new thing that they'd never had the chance to do before. Getting to know the springs, going on just going hiking, things like that, going to the rec center and playing intramural sports there. There's a lot of ways for people to make friends. We also use this tool called Nearpeer, and your students should have gotten an email about Nearpeer, and it's kind of a closed social media network that only new students can get into. And in there, they can meet people in an environment that they're a little more familiar with digitally, and then connect in there and then talk when they get to campus. We have found students have been finding roommates that way. Just through folks they're engaging with. And again, it's a closed social media network that only the students can get into, no outside UCCS people, but it's called Nearpeer. And if your students haven't seen that, I would say just have them check their email again because we've been sending out links a few times. Emma asked the hours for the gym and dining hall. The rec center is usually open from 6 a.m. until about 10 at night, 10 or even maybe 11 at night. So pretty healthy throughout the day. The dining hours, they're open pretty much all day as well. They've got continuous dining. They've got small meal offerings and they've got the main service time offerings. They come back again at night with late night service. So the Roaring Fork Dining Hall is open quite often. And then you've got the coffee shops that are open. Cafe 65 is open from pretty much all day until 6. Clyde's is open all afternoon, and they're trying to keep that open even late at night coming this fall. So there's a lot of options to get food on campus. You're welcome, anonymous attendee. Still my favorite. Jacqueline, Monique, Roland, did I miss anything?
All good.
Uh, Folks, thanks for coming tonight. I know there's a lot of things you could choose to spend your time with, but we really do appreciate this. I appreciate it. If if you need anything else from us, please do reach out to our various email accounts. Do a campus tour. We're here. Talk with us then. Uh, Again, I hope some of this has been helpful to just make you feel a little more at ease with the choice to come to UCCS. And again, if you need to talk about this one-on-one, let us know. That is why we're here and that's why we do this work. But orientations, that really next big thing to do if you know you want to come to UCCS, you want to hold off on that, don't worry. You've got time with that. Um, some more things popped in. Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate that. John, can you send all the links via email? I think there's a thank you for attending that comes out. Jacqueline, is there a thank you with all these links that are going to get sent?
We will work on getting John an email.
Leanne, I told you I was sending that thing on Thursday, and I sent that thing on Thursday. So look in the mail. But thanks for coming. Academic advisor sends basic communication. Nope, academic advisor will do the outreach to you first. Academic advisor will send information out and give information to the orientation leader. After the student has done that orientation and they sign up for their classes, they can still set up an appointment with their advisor. Totally fine. And that's, yeah, so hold off orientation, get that step done first. Page not found. Which one? First link, image student next steps. Kendra, were you looking at the admitted student next steps or did I misread? John will get those sent out. Folks are dropping off, and that's totally fine. I'll linger for a little bit, see if anything else pops in. It opened for me, Kendra, and me, Kendra, can you use the chat to directly send me your email address? And then I'll add it in there. It's working when I click it, so I'll try and send it via email and maybe that will work. Can I paste out of Zoom? No, Kim, it wouldn't cause any problems. You just want to make sure that it's updated with registrar's office so that can impact all official files and then records and financial aid and things like that. So registrar has a process for that. Let's check my child's numbers. Um, Richard, I would definitely want to look into that because we send a lot. So I'd want to make sure we double check the address we have is correct. We've also noticed that a lot of higher ed emails are going to spam, junk, or in other folder tabs. So I would definitely want to know that email address and your student to look into that. If you wouldn't mind emailing, here, let me just, oh, wait, it's already gone.
I put in my email, Chris.
Thanks, Jacqueline. Michael, housing move-in dates will probably be assigned in July. If there's a specific one you need, I would say reach out to housing@uccs.edu and see if you can request a specific one. All right. I gonna guess everyone else is good. I got you, Kendra. All right, all. Please do connect if we can help you in any other way. Look forward to seeing you on campus one more time if you want to visit. If you're in the Denver area, I would say have your student check to see if there's been any invites for Denver area admitted student events. I know we've got one Wednesday night. And you can also reach out to go@uccs if your student can't find that invite. But otherwise, my thanks to Jacqueline and Monique and Roland behind the scenes for helping with questions. And thank you all again for coming tonight. We hope this is helpful, but do please reach out if we can help you in any way make this feel a lot easier. Thanks so much. Have a good rest of your week.